America's costly Israel support in 2025, $22 billion down the drain and global respect lost, what it means for us.
Welcome to Question Everything, where we challenge the status quo and dive deep into truths no one else dares to. Get ready to question everything you know.
Picture this, over $22 billion flushed down the drain in aid to Israel since 2023, while global protests erupt and U.S. favorability plummets to just 46%. Is America's unwavering support a costly blunder that's eroding its wallet and worldwide respect? Let's expose the financial and goodwill hits and what it means for you. As a concerned American, we've watched our country pour billions into Israel's war efforts since October 2023. The total military aid has topped $17.9 billion, with overall support reaching $22 billion by mid-2025, per costs of war project at Brown University. This isn't just money, it's taxpayer dollars. The U.S. has approved over 100 foreign military sales to Israel since the war began, including $3.8 billion in annual aid, per State Department, straining our $35 trillion national debt. Financial burden on U.S. Our economy feels the pinch. The $22 billion aid package includes $17.9 billion in direct military funding and $4.86 billion for regional operations, per Reuters, diverting funds from domestic needs like healthcare for 28 million uninsured Americans. Boycotts are hitting hard. Boeing, a major supplier of weapons to Israel, faces global backlash. Sales losses from boycotts reached $150 million per year in 2025, per MENA News, with protests demanding cancellation of missile deals. The $1.5 trillion defense deal with Qatar is at stake. After Israel's 2025 strike in Doha, Qatar threatened to reconsider ties, per Reuters, putting this massive arms agreement in jeopardy as U.S. negotiates to save it. Other economic hits. U.S. companies suffer reputational damage. Heritage Foundation's Project Esther targets pro-Palestine activism, but boycotts against brands like Boeing and Caterpillar for Gaza complicity cost billions in lost contracts, per AFSC. Trade disruptions from war escalate costs. The U.S.'s $1.2 trillion trade deficit in 2025 widens due to regional instability, adding $2,400 yearly to family budgets from tariffs, per estimates, hitting 62% living paycheck to paycheck. Moral costs translate to financial ones. U.S. firms face 20% drop in Middle East sales from boycotts, per MENA News, with global brands losing $10 billion in market value from Gaza-related protests in 2025. Goodwill loss globally. U.S. favorability has tanked. Only 32% of Americans back Israel's actions in Gaza, a new low per Gallup 2025, down from 50% in 2023, with 52% unfavorable views of Netanyahu. Globally, U.S. support for Israel has damaged our image. In 24 countries surveyed by Pew in 2025, most have negative views of Israel and Netanyahu, with U.S. rating at 50 on a 0-100 scale, per Chicago Council. Protests worldwide highlight this. Over 1 million marched in U.S. cities in 2025, per CNN, with 60% of Americans disapproving of more aid to Israel, per Quinnipiac, eroding our soft power. Moral and financial harm. The Gaza war has cost U.S. goodwill in the Middle East. Qatar's defense deal hangs in the balance after Israel's Doha strike, per Al Jazeera, threatening $1.5 trillion in potential arms sales. Boeing's involvement in Gaza has led to boycotts. Iowa City voted to boycott Boeing in 2025, per Press Citizen, contributing to $11.8 billion losses in 2024, with more expected from pro-Palestine campaigns. Other incidents like U.S. reversing disaster fund links to Israel boycott stances in 2025, per Times of Israel, show policy backpedaling amid backlash, costing diplomatic credibility. Education on the phenomenon. America's support isn't free. The $22 billion aid since 2023 has fueled protests and favorability drops to 46% in key allies, per Brookings 2025, damaging trade relationships. Goodwill loss is moral too. U.S. is seen as complicit in Gaza's 64,000 deaths, per Gaza Ministry, eroding our human rights stance and soft power. Financially, it's unsustainable. Aid diverts from domestic needs, with 37 million in poverty facing higher costs from war-driven inflation. Suggestions for change. As a concerned citizen, here's how we fix this. First, vote for balanced foreign policy, support candidates pushing conditional aid, like tying $3.8 billion to human rights, reducing moral costs. Diversify alliances, strengthen ties with Qatar and Saudi Arabia, safeguarding $1.5 trillion defense deals and countering boycott losses. Advocate for transparency, join groups like AJC pressing Congress to audit aid, ensuring taxpayer dollars don't fund endless wars. Detailed suggestions. Do our leaders consider Israel and the genocide in Palestine more important than the life of any U.S. citizen, because the stats definitely say so? Push for diplomatic solutions, urge Biden to enforce ceasefires, as 60% of Americans disapprove of more aid, per Quinnipiac 2025, restoring global respect. Support boycotts of companies like Boeing involved in arms sales, join BDS campaigns, which have cost firms $150 million yearly, per MENA News, pressuring for change. Educate yourself and others, read reports from CFR on aid's $22 billion cost, sharing to build public pressure for reform. Can we rebound? America can rebound. With growing public disapproval, only 32% back Israel's actions per Gallup 2025, we can shift to balanced policies, rebuilding goodwill. Our economy is resilient. 1.8% GDP growth in 2025 shows potential to redirect funds home, fostering peace and prosperity. As citizens, our voice matters. Advocate, vote, and we can restore America's standing. The future's hopeful if we act now.
Your opinion is what helps us expand our knowledge. Please share your thoughts on the question we asked and let us know what we should investigate next. Don't forget to subscribe to Question Everything and hit the bell. Stay curious and keep questioning.